Why does it seem as though nobody cares about Jake Paul's next upcoming fight against 10-1 professional boxer and multi-Golden Gloves champion Andre August? So after doing a little bit of research, I was able to find that on Ticketmaster alone, it seems as though they still have over 800 tickets still on sale in a venue that has a limited seating capacity for 4,400 spectators. So a much smaller venue than what Jake Paul is initially accustomed to begin with. And then also, unable to sell it out or even come close to selling it out, because that's only on Ticketmaster. There could be more tickets out there on other sites or other places that you can buy also. So just not quite sure how many people are actually going to be there in present for the fight. But at the end of the day, to be honest, that kind of doesn't really matter, because to be honest, I could go to the Jake Paul fight, but I would just rather watch it live at home with you guys. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of people who feel the same way. They would rather just stay at home and pay for the pay-per-view than pay much more for a ticket and go watch it live. Plus, I wonder if, people who are actually staying at this resort, because the fight is taking place at a hotel, I wonder if people staying at this resort maybe get a little bit of a discount. So that might help his numbers a little bit. But of course, this all sparked when Mams Taylor actually put out this photo. As you can see right here, still a lot of seats available, just a few weeks ago when Mams Taylor posted this. And still, there is still a good amount of seats left. So, there's people out there making fun of Jake Paul, saying he can't sell, calling him the face of boxing while showing, this seating. But, I think there's many reasons as to why, Jake Paul might not be selling out this very small venue. Well, the first reason I could think of is, you don't have another opponent, a superstar opponent or very popular opponent that can get people interested in the fight. He's fighting a guy that's virtually unknown. Therefore, he's banking on ticket sales being on his name alone. Whereas before, he's had Nate Diaz, he's had Tyron Woodley, he's had other people that can kind of, in a way, carry the ticket sales for him. So this clearly just shows that Jake isn't as big of a draw money-wise that maybe some people thought he was. And more so, his opponents were carrying more of that weight than we thought. But at the end of the day, there's really nothing wrong with that, because let's be real, how many of your favorite fighters this early in their career were headlining a pay-per-view and on a big-time promotion like DAZN? How many of them have really done that at this point in their careers? So let's be real, Jake is doing stuff that really past fighters have been unable to do. But this is where I think it's a little bit of a mistake from Jake Paul and his team. I really think, having someone like Amanda Serrano on his team, I think he should utilize that. At the end of the day, Amanda Serrano sells. She puts on really good fights, especially if you come to Florida. There's a bunch of New Yorkers, there's a bunch of Puerto Ricans over here in Florida. If you come to Florida, Amanda Serrano will sell out a venue. So I just think it's a bit of a mistake constantly putting Amanda Serrano on your undercard as a co-main event. In my opinion, I think if I were Jake Paul personally, and if I was in his position, I would probably put Amanda Serrano as a main event and then have me as the co-main event. I understand, Jake wants to be the face, he wants to be the name, he wants to be the big popular guy, but let's be real, when it comes to the professional boxing scene, Amanda Serrano is just so much more bigger. So in my eyes, it would have done a much more justice, and I think they probably could have packed out a much bigger venue if they would have put in Amanda Serrano at the top and then had Jake Paul as the co-main event. And let's be real, with Amanda Serrano as the co-main event, she steals the show anyways. You might as well just end it on an absolute banger of a fight. So that's the main reason why I think this is gonna seem a bit of a flop, especially in ticket sales. Like I said, I wonder how the pay-per-view sales are gonna look, but I just think not utilizing Amanda Serrano and putting her as the main event, so not only she can get paid the big time bucks, but she can also get the big time spotlight as a main event of a big time pay-per-view on DAZN. I just think that this really just shows that Jake Paul isn't really main event worthy just yet. And I feel as though moving forward, I expect to see Jake Paul and Amanda Serrano on the same card. I don't think Jake is going to go under Amanda, even though I think he probably should. But realistically, I would like to see Amanda Serrano as a main event with possibly Jake Paul as the co-main event. And another thing too that I just realized and remembered, KSI and IShowSpeed it seems as though they're really serious. I thought it was all just jokes, but it seems as though it looks like they're really going to try to put on a sparring session while Jake Paul's fight is going on to try to hurt his pay-per-view sales, so people will go and watch, KSI and IShowSpeed spar rather than watching Jake Paul's fight. And that is freaking hilarious, man. And I did see some people also saying that, well, Misfits wasn't sold out. Well, maybe their, free fights on the Zone weren't sold out. But hey, every Misfits pay-per-view that I've seen that they've had at the O2 Arena, them things were booming. I didn't see any open seats. And if there were open seats, there was barely any. And that is a big time arena where big fights take place at. But we won't know for sure until it comes to fight night. Because as we know, people get that FOMO, the fear of missing out, and they get tickets last minute. So, a lot of these tickets can go by when the fight starts actually coming up. So we won't actually know until, the fight is actually in our face and we're watching it. And we look at the pay-per-view sales to see how he's done. But let's be real, how many people out there really expected Jake Paul to be a big draw as a main event on a card against, not another big name that people care to see about? In my opinion, he probably would have kept fighting these retired MMA fighters and these other big name fighters, but people wanted to see him fight, a professional boxer. So he's doing what y'all want. Y'all wanted him to fight a pro boxer. He went out and found a pro boxer. So I'm not surprised at all that the ticket sales has gone down big time. And I'm not surprised at all that Jake Paul holding a card of his own isn't as big of a sale as, some people might have thought it would be. It's not as easy to main event a big time pay-per-view as everyone thinks, and this just proves it. To be fair though, I think most of the hate that he gets is due to, him calling out the people he's called out, the Canelos, the Conor McGregors, him calling out big time superstars, not being a big time superstar himself. So I think he kind of shoots himself in the foot a little bit when he does that. And then when he hosts a pay-per-view by himself where he doesn't have a super famous MMA Hall of Famer to, help him out with pay-per-view sales, when he's doing it all on his own against a guy who's virtually unknown, the numbers just don't stack up to the type of boxer he portrays himself out to be. And of course, his team, his management team and them portray him to be as like this big time superstar. But when I wonder how many of you guys are going to be interested in this fight, or how many of you guys are more interested in the KSI I Showed Speed sparring session. Of course, I will be live come October 15th with Jake Paul versus Andre August. Hope to see some of you guys there. As always, I thank you all so much for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.